Hi, Deb. How are you? You can't answer. Normally I'd stop the video and delete it, but you're my friend and I probably just made you laugh, so it's all good, girl. It's all good. I didn't wash my hair today. I should have. I'm going with the mom tail. Tiny ass little ponytail back there. Alright. Yeah, there's some sage going on. So I'm just gonna kind of move the cards around under the sage. This is a happy birthday reading, and I love doing happy birthday readings for people, of course. Even more so people that I know and that are my friends in real life, even though real life has put us at a distance physically. We get virtual life to connect us up whenever we want. So, there we go. Just needed a little more. I'm having to stretch my sage because I don't really have all the extra funds right now to go buy new sage. It's like $10 for a bundle of 3, and I'm like, I'll just use this one more for a minute. So, anyway, let's go ahead and kind of get started. I like to call in the energy of these readings as being very much like maybe what you can kind of expect in the next year. And you said that you're taking on some leadership roles in some of your activist programs. And so I got the glimmer. I just thought of it again. So it's like working in. So birthday reading, but I got the glimmer that I should tell you about, make sure to remind you about cord cutting. And it wasn't so much that that you're going to form unhealthy cords to other people as part of this activities, but it definitely is that the people that you're helping might form cords of attachment to you, which even though they, aren't trying to be negative about that, the fact that, when you have a group that's an activist for something or somebody or something in that nature, usually they're suffering somewhere, and so there can be cords of attachment that attach to leaders in activist roles and positions. And I felt called that Archangel Michael wanted to come through and say, hey, I can help her, cut those cords. So I know that archangels are different and they're non-denominational, so they're definitely outside the traditional religious text and understanding, but he's a protector kind of guy, so he's also the one that can help shield you. But as I was preparing to do your reading, I really got that information that I should talk to you about cord cutting. And again, it's not to say you're forming the unhealthy cords. It's just that through the process of what you're doing, cords can be formed, and most of the time cords are unhealthy. Like most of the time, you can have healthy cords between two individuals, but they're usually in very close relationships with each other, like parent to child, spouse, kind of things, partners, that sort of thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and do your reading. I don't know if I've done one of a triangle shape for you before. It's what I've deemed my happy birthday reading, so that's where we'll go with it. But I just love it. I like doing it. I like shuffling all the decks one time. It's kind of, I take on these new things. Maybe it's because I'm doing more and more readings, and so the decks are like, just do a little bit extra for us. All right. Okay, got it. I got it. I get that card. I'll get that card. And then the fairy deck. And I've kind of I've come out and I've really figured out that these are definitely the 3 decks that like to come forward for birthday readings. I think my kitty's trying to invite herself in, but she won't get in. like to get through it after a second. I'm like, I'll stop talking. Ooh. Oh. All right. Okay. Let's go. Sorry, I just had this like crink in my shoulders, and I needed to get that out. Let's go ahead and get started, and let's look at the first card here, who is a tarot card. And generally the first card in the readings, they do represent like you and what might be going on in your life right now, and kind of like maybe a direction for the reading to take. So that's what you can see out of this first card. So this is the Nine of Cups. So I love this card. It's beautiful. I mean, happy birthday. You're sitting on a beach. You're being able to meditate. Any would-be predators are being kept at bay by your kitty companion. He's like fighting off a crab. Nine signifies that you're like, if you think of life in maybe some phases and chapters, the nine would signify you're coming closer to nearing the end of a phase. Or a chapter, maybe a phase of learning. And this one is more on the emotional aspect and the emotional side. So you feel maybe more at peace than you have been in a while, which is really beautiful. Isn't it nice? It's nice to be in this like feeling of serene, kind of on the beach vacation feeling. That's why I was like, take a deep breath. So the thing about this card is it also reminds us, though, that as much as fun as it is to sit in this place, you want to make sure, that you are still moving forward. There's still the completion of the journey. There's still one more little phase of something that's going out. So let's see what the rest of the cards might have to say for us. I like to go to the Soul Trees deck now and see what internal guidance, or no, the next one's the internal guidance. This one's kind of like a to-do. This would be like a to-do for you to do. Ooh, the Earth Tree. I have never gotten the Earth. I've never turned over the Earth Tree. Ooh. So this card, how beautiful. I mean, it's a very rich card. A lot of the trees don't necessarily have like the ground cover, but this one's very connected and grounded. So I think that gave me a clue as to what direction. Hi, kitty. Oh, are you in the closet? I feel like I had a kitty in the closet. We'll wait here and find out. Hold on a second. There's just a small kitty in the closet. I don't want you in here, sweetie. I want you out. She tends to get a little bit in the way. So I'm just going to leave that there. When she's in the room with the reading, we're going to get her out of here. So what was I saying about earth groundedness? So an immediate to do is to make sure you're very grounded, very connected with Mother Earth. And she's going to give you quite a bit of power, not only in nurturing power, but in power, like on this worldly scope, this earthly scale. But getting grounded is very important, so you can actually form a connection and feel the energy that you have when you do connect to Mother Earth or the Earth. So yes, that's an immediate to do. What a beautiful card to get into that one. And get outside to do that. Of course, the easiest and fastest way to ground yourself is to be outside when you're doing it. Go barefoot, get outside, even crouch down, like I think I've told you maybe a time or two before, and touch your palms to the ground. You don't have to get barefoot necessarily if you're out doing, work. And people are like, why is she taking off her shoes? But that's why you can just like briefly touch the palm of your hands to the ground. And just think of something that really grounds you and calms you. Another thing that's really great to do is just find a tree to sit under once in a while, lean your back up against it. Maybe take your lunch under the tree. That can be really beautiful to do. Here's your angel hanging out right here. So let's look at the first card from the fairies. And this card represents messages for the next year is what it represents. Be yourself. So especially when you're going into maybe leadership positions, that's why you got into this leadership position, was because of your amazing self. So altering that or changing it or muting it or doing anything in any way that isn't honoring just feel the true feelings that you have inside for something, that's not the way to go. It's totally a be yourself kind of year. That's why it's interesting to say that a lot of people, they get into certain positions in their life because they're acting a certain way, and then when they're there, they change for the politics of the situation. But no, I mean, be yourself, be true to the causes that really light your heart, so that you can be yourself totally within them. That's another important message there too. So the next card is a tarot card, and this one represents it's the card that's kind of like how to deal with other people. If you were going to meet someone significant in your life, though, it could be an actual person, like a king or something, of somebody that almost always represents a person when we're talking about tarot, and that's usually just the kings. A couple of the other major arcana cards do represent persons, people like the emperor and such. But let's look at this. It could also mean how to deal with others. Okay. This is the Justice card. So I love this card for so many subtle reasons. It's the Major Arcana card. It's number 11 in the Major Arcana card. And it's like saying this blind justice. I love that she's got the blindfold on, but it's not completely on. She has her eye on what's going on. She has her eye on the two cats that are in front of her. One very the black cat's maybe more masculine in energy, whereas the white cat's the yin energy. So she's about balance, but about balance and fairness. It's got to be fair for the situation. So this is how you deal with other people. And also another thing I just noticed is she's got like the book of law, like right here. So keep that in mind. This might be especially with the realm that you're in, with activism and stuff like that, it gets very close to the law, because lines are crossed, and that's why we have to take a stand for people and for certain things that happen. And so that, I really feel like this is amazing as a card to come forward for how to deal with other people and other situations that are in your life. So really, look at it at the scope of justice, and maybe that helps you align up what you need to do for some of your projects and things like that. Sometimes the things that make us overly emotional, because they're not going to get as much justice, and you'll want to maybe push towards your energy towards ones that focus more about achieving justice, so you can really master what that's like, versus being in ones that are excessively overly emotional, where as much as you try, maybe justice isn't achieved, if that makes sense. because it is showing that you don't want to be blind to justice. You want to be able to experience that, and be able to know what that's like. So keep that in mind. The next card we go up to is the Soul Trees deck. And this card is the card for internal guidance, something that's just wanting to come out from within. Some more healing needs to occur. So this is always like a nice kind of invitation to continue the healing process that you're on. And this is I kind of got the feeling that it's saying you'll be able to kind of go deeper and maybe experience different modalities of healing that you hadn't necessarily tried before. I don't know. I'm going to be able to give you a different modality of understanding maybe healing from your past, and that's looking at your past life in the Akashic Records. Now that I've gotten through, the program and I've done one, I've got a really good scope on what it's all about, and I think it's wonderful to work on not only the things that went on in this lifetime that are causing problems in our life, reoccurrences of certain behaviors and activities that we want to kind of like be able to move beyond, but also what it might be in our past life that's got our grips on that. So I have that kind of feeling from internal guidance that it's going to be a new dimension of healing for you. Maybe you'll get into this kind of study as well, as far as just being able to really take it all in and have it be really, really beneficial for you in the next year. So I love that. Lots of healing to go on. So let's look at the next fairy card. This is the family card. Anything and all that we might want to know about family. Get some exercise. So this is actually, interestingly enough, the second time that we've gotten this card just today, I think. You'll have to remind me if I'm correct. I've done a couple of readings. So this is really out there meant for you. So I think this is okay, because you're going to tell me, and I know, like, you walk everywhere. You walk up flights of stairs, and you do all over town when in between, like, the tracks and any sort of buses and this sort of thing. So, like, how could you possibly need to exercise more? You're going to tell me that. I'm going to take a break for water because I got cotton mouth. But what I'm going to tell you is I'm really feeling that the kind of exercise that you might need to invite into your life is a more a kind of peaceful exercise that invokes a meditative quality for you. That some of this healing that's going to come from within, that internal guidance, is you being able to be away from the distractions of the street and the cars and the people that whistle and holler and where's your daughter, So of course, it'd be time that maybe you're not around her, so you could just really focus on inside, and the growth that can come from getting some exercise, from maybe if it's not going on a jog, it's doing some yoga, and there's lots of different opportunities for yoga. I know it's getting to be fall and it's getting cooler, so some of the like yogas in the park are not getting to be so accessible, but I think also even just like on YouTube, if there's opportunities for you to have your phone with you and just be at the park, and you don't even necessarily, like, if you get a YouTube video that you like, you can get to know it, so you don't have to have the sound on, but you can sort of be watching the different positions if you need to, or you can just learn the different movements yourself after a while and just go in nature, and sort of connect with that through some exercise. But more of an exercise where you can lose yourself to the activity and not be so have to be so on alert all the time as it is with exercise as a modality of getting you places as transportation. So okay. So let's look at the final tarot card, which is a card in this position representing life purpose, more information about your life purpose. So we've got the Two of Swords, and this is the card of it's kind of like, it's a card of a lot of indecision. So twos can either be coming together, like a really good coming together of some ideas, or they can be like not knowing which idea, or the arguing of ideas. And so this card comes up in the story of tarot as if to say, you've already hit the bullseye. Um, so go forward, start moving forward. You're at the 2, you're at the beginning of the journey. If you think there's ace and then there's 2, you're really right at the beginning of the journey. Don't try to get a better shot. You see, she's like trying, she's blindfolded as well. So you've got 2 blindfolded images in the tarot in a row for yourself. So it's time to kind of remove that blindfold. And in this case, the message that the 2 of Swords carries is get on with it. It's time to start moving. You already know the right decision. And so one thing you can do is, if you're really having a very difficult time making a conscious decision, you can do a flip of a coin. And if you flip the coin, and when it comes up, you feel good, well, that was the decision you should have just been able to make in the beginning. But if it comes up and you don't like the decision that came up, then it's the other decision that you should just go with, because like your gut tells you. So keep it simple. But the card that is telling you with your life purpose, as far as directionality and what's calling out to you right now, is you've already hit it on the money. Necessarily waiting for something different or better, you might be missing an opportunity. That's what this card is saying. That's why she's got the bullseye already. Don't knock it out, by tossing another one at it. So hopefully that resonates with you. Okay, and then the final soul tree card, which it talks about how to sort of recharge or renew your soul. What can you do to recharge or renew your soul? Build up trust. Build up a little bit more trust. So what kind of trust is this calling out to me? There's so many different aspects of trust. Look how many different colors of trust there are. There's trust we have with our own children. A trust that she's not going to run into the street, that we've had this conversation before. There's trust that you have with people that are your friends. There's trust that you have with your parents, your coworkers. Lots of different trusts. So how do you recharge your soul? I know it's getting in touch with that trusting of yourself, of knowing that you know the exact correct path for you. You're on it. You've got a lot of healing that's happening in this card. You've got the Nine of Cups shows you've got this ability to kind of sit in bliss, kind of being very happy, although it's not without a lot of activity, meaning going forward in the getting some exercise, and the Justice card. So the trust, building trust in yourself, goes along with the Be Yourself card. I like that. Of trusting that you do know the right decisions for you, that you've got this. When things are thrust at you, you can check from within, and be able to be inspired in your decision making by this process of trusting your higher self. So that's the trust card. That's how I feel. That's the aspect of trust that I see here, is when it talks about how to renew your soul. It's just getting back into connection with that trust that you have with yourself, being your own like comrade or your best teammate or whatever it might be. Okay, so we have the final fairy card. The final fairy card. This is just kind of like final wishes, final information for you. And so this says that there's a holiday coming up, that you have not only a vacation, but a holiday. I always imagine holidays as being it even does say here, found during a vacation, a retreat, or a holiday getaway. I always find that holidays are more than just like a weekend or two, or a weekend at home, not working or treating yourself to having no kid. That's maybe like a mini vacation, a staycation. But a holiday is something that sends you a little bit further away, maybe outside of the range of places you would normally go. So is this foretelling that you're going to have one? Is this kind of saying, go take one? Try to look into your future for something like that. I think that's a lot. It could be expressing to you that you need one, that you need a little bit of a holiday, all work and no play. It's not... not very happy for everybody all day, you got to get some play in there. only you'll know exactly what that means, but it does say that, you know, it does feel that it would be inspiring for you to be able to get away. And I think that doesn't mean necessarily go away without your daughter. You know, maybe you guys take a trip together, and have it be something that is a brand new experience for her, and more or less probably for you, you know, traveling someplace with her. But yeah, just invoke a lot of childlike fun and spirit into it. Look, she's dancing in the water. What's more childlike and fun than that? So, well, thank you. Thank you for entrusting me on giving you a lovely reading here for your happy birthday. I hope you get a chance to enjoy your birthday fully, doing everything that you could possibly want. I know that you said Estelar is headed out to be kind of with her family for the weekend, so you get some time. So that's really excellent. Take it. Take advantage. How often do we get our birthdays off, dude? Never for me. Not for a minute. Anyway, all right, take care.